Podcasting or clubhousing? Whether you're thinking about starting a podcast or getting on Clubhouse, today I'm gonna dive down and tell you the difference between both, pros and cons, and which one you should be diving into. Let's go ahead and get started. If you don't already know, this is your go-to channel for everything in regards to content creation for your online business. If you haven't heard of it, Clubhouse is the new kid on the block, literally. There is so much FOMO going around with this new social media app because as of today, it's still invite only. That means that you can only get in if you have an invite. Way to keep it super exclusive, Clubhouse people. It is a very interesting platform. It's definitely something that is innovative and new because it's only about voice. You cannot see people. You can't try to see them in pictures and videos, whatever it may be. It's only voice. You have a little tiny bubble that basically moves when the person is speaking inside rooms, okay? So you might be thinking, what's so cool about Clubhouse? So as Grant Cardone, I think it's Grant Cardone said, if you don't have a seat in the room, serve the water, but get yourself in that room. So that's basically the reality and the background of Clubhouse. You get into rooms that you can speak to people, you can ask questions, and it's just really, really cool. But when you think about it from a business perspective and you're thinking, okay, so if it's a voice trend, which obviously we know voice is growing, it's a trend that is just going to continue to grow. Should we be focusing on podcasting for our business, or should we be focusing on getting on Clubhouse, creating rooms, moderating rooms, and basically just working in there? Here it goes. I'm gonna give you the pros and cons, and I'm gonna break it down for you and basically let you know what works and what doesn't. So let's go ahead and start off with podcasting, because obviously it's been around for longer. It deserves to go first. Podcasting. What are the good pros and cons about good old podcasting? As you guys know, I have a podcast, TDC Talks, that you can listen to on any podcasting platform. I love podcasts. I listen to podcasts all the time. So a really good thing is that a podcast can be saved, meaning that you can listen to it over and over again. You can listen to it in different times. People can listen to it whether you start listening to my podcast this year or a year ago, you can still listen to the same episode, okay? That also means that when you're recording as a podcaster, you can batch record in order to save time. We love batch recording. I love batching everything because it honestly keeps me on track. It allows me to have time for everything that I want to dive into, creating content, managing my business, and being able to interact with my clients, okay? So batch recording is something that is a huge plus of podcasting, which, as you can already imagine, you can't do on Clubhouse, but we're gonna get into that in just a few moments. Podcasting also is huge because you can repurpose it. As you guys know from all the videos I've made about podcasting, you should already be doing not only a podcast, but a video podcast. You can repurpose that same content to YouTube, to Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, just by putting up a camera while you're recording the audio. It's a win-win case scenario. And of course, you throw that up on YouTube, you get so much traffic because YouTube is a search engine platform. And that ties us to something that a lot of you love to do, obviously monetizing your podcast. You can definitely monetize your podcast by getting people to sponsor you, by doing brand deals, by having different types of affiliates also recommended during your podcast. So it's a really great business model to create content and attract and warm up your ideal audience even more so that they become part of your community. Now, let's go on to Clubhouse. Obviously, everything that I mentioned here over on podcasting means that Clubhouse doesn't have it. That's right. You can't monetize Clubhouse yet, as in the app literally has a monetization platform. Obviously, you can monetize it. Let's say if I say, hey, you're in my room, you're listening to this and you want to buy chocolate from me, go head over to chocolate.com. And obviously, if you heard me from Clubhouse, well, I'm technically monetizing it, but it's not directly from the platform. You know what I mean. So Clubhouse, you cannot monetize yet, you cannot batch record, and you cannot save conversations or rooms. That is huge. Now let's go on to the pros of this platform right here, Clubhouse. Clubhouse, you can have people speak. So it's an interactive conversation that wouldn't happen on a podcast unless you had a guest speaker. So on Clubhouse, even if you're not a guest speaker and you're hanging out in my room, I can ask you, hey, you over there, do you want to ask a question? Do you want to share your input on this topic that we're talking about? So it's a really nice way to create a conversation which wouldn't happen on a podcast, okay? Next, it creates huge FOMO, okay? FOMO, fear of missing out. Not only about being in the platform, but because we know it's gone as soon as it's over. It's not something that we can listen to. It's not something that we can play or pause if we're getting a call or if we have to do other things like we do with the podcast. It's literally on the spot. If you were there, you were there. If you didn't listen, you didn't listen. And that's why it's so huge. On Clubhouse, you cannot record the screen. If you're even trying to screen record from your phone, a pop-up will come up letting you know that you can't do it. Why? Because obviously other people are also speaking, and that means that you need their rights in order to share whatever you are recording. So that's something huge. It's there in the moment and then boom, it's gone. So it's very interesting to think, should I spend at least an hour creating a piece of content, giving information, providing value when it's literally gone? Or should I do it on my podcast for an hour where I can repurpose it? People can play and pause it for years and years and years to come. I can then put it on YouTube, TikTok, so many different social media channels, right? That's the big question. So back here on Clubhouse, you can definitely build community, and that's why it's growing like wildfire. You can build community around different rooms, around different topics, and of course, there are famous clubs. You can create clubs where people can belong to and create their own style of rooms. That's why it's such a huge community builder, and also because you're connecting, your brain is connecting their voice, so you automatically feel like you're basically having a phone conversation with them. It's a really cool experience. If you haven't experienced it so far, I would recommend you to try it out, get on the platform and see for yourself what it feels like to not only participate, but to also share your value as a business owner on Clubhouse. Remember, a con on Clubhouse is that right now you cannot monetize it. Yes, there's been different rumors around the platform saying that you might be able to do this later on, but as of right now, today, the day that this video is published, you cannot monetize Clubhouse. So that is something to think about when you're creating content, as I mentioned. Not only here can people listen to it years and years after, but you can have your brand deals, you can have your affiliates, you can either link it down in the description, where in Clubhouse, you can't even share a link. Let's say if I'm promoting like the best chocolate and I'm like, hey, you can get a 20% discount by clicking the link. There's no link to put. I literally have to say it out to the people, hey, go to www.chocolate.com, then put in the promo code Laura Loves Chocolate, all that stuff where a lot of people might fall off the track, where here it's just super easy to click, put in the promo code, or if it's already added, it's already a way that it's easier to monetize in different methods, okay? I'm not saying that it's impossible to monetize on Clubhouse. Not at all. There's so many different ways, okay? You just have to be creative. It's not the usual that we have on podcasting. So now to tie this all together, you know the ins and outs, the goods and the bads of both platforms. What should you be doing? Dun, dun, dun. Here is my recommendation, okay? I recommend you to work around it. Promote your podcast. Use it as content that you are doing on the application that is exclusive and that builds a community. So for example, if you're promoting your podcast, you're driving traffic over to your podcast, which is something that's already living there. You can monetize it so many different ways and also repurpose it on social media to all your different channels. So for example, if I'm on Clubhouse and I love talking about chocolate, well, I can have so many different people give me their questions on what's the best type of chocolate, where should we even get the chocolate? If I know like a super hidden chocolate place, you know, that has the ultimate chocolate, then I would share with them. People would give me their advice, their opinions, that they've traveled to who knows where to try the best chocolate, the dark chocolate, the white chocolate, all that good stuff. So it creates a different thing. And then I say, hey, I'm gonna bring in the chocolate expert, Mr. Chocolate, tomorrow to my podcast. Go ahead and listen to it on Friday when it launches. All these people that are already invested in the chocolate conversation with me are going to run over there and listen to that episode because I already created conversation here. In simpler terms, you can create, let's say, pre-podcasting events, after parties, Q&As with the invites that you have here, where your podcast listeners can actually get a hold of you and the guests that you had on your podcast. It's just a lot more tangible. So definitely, I recommend jumping on a Clubhouse, but the most important thing is to have a plan. because when you don't have a plan is when you start spending hours and hours and hours maybe creating content that doesn't even have a purpose, that doesn't end up driving traffic to your other sources, whether it be your podcast, your YouTube channel, your Instagram, a masterclass, or a program that you're offering. If you're going to get on Clubhouse, get on it with a plan, an action, and a goal to send the traffic, and with an incentive and an experience to create with these listeners that you have there. It's a great platform, but you need to create an experience from it. So go ahead, try it out. Hopefully soon it's open to the public, and then you guys can all jump on and get your conclusions. And of course, let me know what you're doing from it. Of course, check me out on Clubhouse. You can follow me there. I do a couple rooms occasionally, so obviously jump on there to get in the conversation with me. Of course, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because I'll be back here on YouTube every week, at least 2 times a week. And occasionally I do a live that if you're subscribed, you will get notified to join. So hope to see you here back next week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.